All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Let's take a look and see what Bitcoin's doing today. It looks like it's not doing too much. Mainly, I've had a move to the downside on the 8-hour candles. Let's take a look at the daily. So daily, not looking great. We are getting rejected off of that 21 MA, so it looks like we came up. We kind of found resistance against almost the 64 410 that I had drawn here. It looks like we went above to about 64 357. Let's see, 64 361 is looks like what the high is for today. So getting a little bit rejected off of that. We are still consolidating close to 64K level, so that's a really good sign for right now at least. Definitely not getting back into the lower 63,000 range. Like I mentioned previously, I kind of expected this weekend we would be within the range of 63,372 and 64,410, kind of staying above this area, kind of ranging out. So that's exactly what we're doing. Let's see. So we took a look at the 8-hour, the 4-hour. We're staying above that 21 MA, so definitely, more of a bullish sign for right now at least. Like I mentioned, I am expecting, Sunday when the weekly candle opens, or even possibly Sunday evening, maybe early Monday morning hours, we get a drop, maybe taking out this bottom right here, around 62,467, the support line. So I am expecting this to get wiped out. But I don't think we're going to do it soon. I feel like it's going to be probably when, like I said, when the weekly candle opens Sunday at 5 or Monday morning, early morning hours probably is my guess. So let's see, taking a look at the 1 hour, we are starting to, get these moving averages quite tight. You have your 21 slowly curving up along with your 50. So that's a really good sign. I mean, if we do get above this 200 MA with the golden cross, with the 21 crossing, we're going to get a huge move up. So that's when we can start talking more about visiting probably even higher than these two levels that I have right here. You'd probably have to get, more so into this, which is the consolidation range that we were in. So you can see I've kind of laid this out because this is the range we're in now on the weekly time frame. But I would expect more of a, if we get that golden cross, we're probably going to get more of a move closer to 69,603 is my guess. So let's go ahead and take a look and see kind of where liquidity lies. If we were to get a move up, are we getting closer to 70,000? So let's take a look and see what we have going on here. Um, all right, so trading different. This is my liquidity tool. So taking a look at our daily, let me go ahead and check off all of our different liquidity boxes here. So you can see that we have quite a bit of liquidity still to the downside. Let me get rid of this fib tool so it's easier to see. All the way down even short term to 54,707 area. That's where most of the concentrated liquidity is. You could possibly get a bounce around 57,000, but we could definitely visit this lower area for sure. Um, Taking a look at the 4 hour. So the 4 hour, let me check off some of these boxes here. Uncheck some of these, I should say. You can see that we definitely have liquidity all the way up to the top of the range, which is 69,620-ish. So if we get that golden cross on the 1 hour, I definitely think that we're probably going to move up here, test this area, and then, decide whether or not we're going to consolidate, move further, maybe up into some of this 10x liquidity, going above even to 70,000, or, you know, possibly falling back down, taking some more of this liquidity out. So that's kind of what I'm seeing more on a macro scale. I definitely think, obviously, we're kind of in a smaller upward trend on the macro, the macro scale. I don't think that it's, permanent upward trend. I think it's just temporarily to maybe make some sort of bear flag or just to kind of take some of this upper liquidity out. Um, Now, taking a look at the 1 hour, you can see that, kind of what I was saying, I am targeting the 62K area. You can see we kind of have a double bottom right there. So this is probably going to get taken out sooner rather than later. And that would, honestly, it would take us down to the discount of our smaller range that we're in, not within the consolidation range, but it would take us into the discount area of our consolidation range. So that is definitely kind of what to expect as maybe, making the wick for our weekly candle, targeting this area so far, if we were to drop first, which would, like I said, be a bullish sign. Now, come Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, I do want to see us, basically drop in price, have more of some bigger bearish candles. I don't want to see us move up during those days because, like we saw this past week, when we moved up first, right, when we were bullish first, we kind of made our top of the week at the beginning of the week. I believe it was on Monday. And then we've been kind of moving down since then. We made our bottom on Thursday, and now we're just kind of hovering back, slowly kind of gaining some momentum back to the upside, but definitely was a bearish week this past week. Okay. Going into the 15-minute, let's see what's going to happen more short term. So 15-minute, definitely kind of tells a story that, probability wise, we're going to be visiting this first prior to moving up, right? Now, whether or not that's going to happen prior to, like I said, weekly candle close, that's still up in the air. I still am under the assumption that Thursday was our bottom. So, if anything, maybe taking out this little bit of liquidity, even getting into this green area, but then making a bounce. I don't think we're going to take this out until, like I said, the new weekly candle opens. So I would be thoroughly surprised if we do. But again, anything can happen, right? So timeline wise, though, that's kind of what I'm expecting for right now. Um, as far as trading different goes, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the simple map. So if I were to go into here and go into our simple map, so getting into the scalping time frame, like I always say, this is going to be your 5 minute, your 15, your 1 hour. This kind of paints a story of your scalping time frame here. So you got your 100x, your 50x, your 25x, and your 10x. You can kind of see that we're getting more 100x and 50x building below us, kind of indicating that we could see, a partial move to the downside. We do have some concentrated 100x right above us, to about 64, it's about 64,380. And then we start getting into more of the 50x, 25x, even I think this is 10x. So mainly 50x and 25x. We do have still some 100x shorts to liquidate, but nothing major. To be expected over a weekend though, right? This is Saturday. I'm very happy that we're not really doing too much today. We had a decent move up this morning, but we're just kind of consolidating so far. And then going into our swing time frame, so this is going to be like your 4 hour and your daily. You got your 25x, 10x, 5x, and 3x liquidity here. You can kind of see that we have more, 25x and 10x to the upside, at least short term. But then, as far as concentrated liquidity goes for all of it, we do still have quite a bit to the downside. So getting into your 50K range, getting into your 40K range. I wouldn't be surprised if we take out at least some of this on a macro scale up to into the 70s, prior to visiting the 50s. That's kind of where I'm leaning right now. Don't really have a bias, but I am leaning to the fact that, we could easily take some of this up to 70K out first, 69 to 70K prior to moving down into the 50s. So, as long as we stay within that, above the 60K level, we'll have a good chance of doing that first, okay? So that's what I'm seeing through trading different when it comes to the simple heat map. Again, if you guys want these tools, highly recommend. They do help you in your trading and kind of seeing where we are in a macro perspective, as well as what direction is going, even on a micro time frame like the 15-minute. Feel free to use my code tradingdifferent.com/code/Sean. You'll get 10% off of the whole suite of different tools that they offer. So I mean, you even have high frequency bots. I don't take a look at that much, but you have the heat map, simple map. You have a profile. You have the supplier model. There's all sorts of different indicators that you can take a look at. But like I said, I mainly use the heat map and the simple map, and that for me works extremely well when it comes to liquidity. The last thing I want to take a look at is Kiyotaka. So Kiyotaka is the free order book that I take a look at, and it usually does align somewhat with liquidity. And like we saw yesterday, not too much has changed. We still have quite a few orders to the downside, quite a few major orders to the downside, to 61,500 area. We do have one bigger order now that's come in around 64,792. So as far as, where we're going to be ranging out in, I mean, we could literally just kind of be making some sort of zigzag in here, for the rest of Saturday, part of Sunday, until, like I said, the weekly candle open where we possibly move either to the upside or the downside, making a wick on either side, and then reversing in the opposite direction. So, anyways, guys, that's kind of what I'm expecting, for the week, at least for the beginning of the week. Hope you guys found this video informative, and take care. I will talk to you all tomorrow. See you later.